Alright, hello guys. In this video we have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about our next upcoming major potential winter storm that's going to be coming up around the 10th until about the 12th or 13th. So we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to briefly, at the end of this video, talk about the severe weather that's coming up that could be quite moderate or high chance actually later on in days 4 and 5. So it's going to be very interesting to talk about. But before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends or family if they live in the affected regions. Let's get started. Looking at our storm track, it's important to let you guys know, as a disclaimer, these storms have, as of lately, been trending to move around a lot in the short range, so I would not be surprised to see this one move very far north, specifically north, but also there is a little bit of potential for it to move a little bit south, but mostly. So the most likely outcome is obviously that it stays as it looks, but there is also always that potential that it moves a little bit north and surprises us, like our most previous winter storm, so that's an important disclaimer. Now, let's add our first layer here, and this is going to be our chance of snowstorm region. You can see I extended it pretty far north just because of the fact that this could really just go really far north. And then we have a second layer here. This is our chance of major snowstorm, and there's a pretty good chance that we could potentially see 8 to 12 inches within this region, so that's why I'm giving it a chance of major snowstorm. But this is pretty early on in this snowstorm process, and I'm really just showing you guys this because I find it interesting to track these storms and see the way they trend, and I'm going to make multiple update videos on this. So for the most accurate information, continue to stay up to date with these videos that I'm going to make on this storm, because obviously the latest one that I make is going to be the most accurate. Now we're about to move on and look at our simulated radar as of right now on the GFS model, which is going to be very interesting to take a look at. And then after that, we're going to take a look at our total snowfall maps from the models as well. Alright, so as you can see here, we don't see much going on. I just wanted to point this one out because we're going to see a lot of moisture here on our radar for Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. And we see a little bit of a low pressure system there for New Mexico that's heading into Oklahoma and Texas. And that's eventually going to be our storm. Also notice those blue lines. That's around where our cold air is above those blue lines, where those trough and dip down. That's where our cold air is. So you can see it's over the Dakotas, Nebraska, and Colorado there behind our system. So let's move on a frame. That was maybe Thursday afternoon, Thursday, January 9th afternoon. And this is going to be about 2 a.m. on January 10th, Friday. And we see that low pressure system, again, moving further east, and we see precipitation out ahead of it in the form of rain. There for Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio there. We do see some rain showers, but really our low pressure system hasn't even headed in yet. Let's move on to... This is going to be the evening time on Friday, January 10th, and we see that low pressure system is located on the borders of Arkansas and Oklahoma by this point, and it's really just moved further east, and we're starting to see snow for Kansas in through Nebraska, Iowa, and Missouri there. We see some pinks and purples there in northern Missouri as well. That's where we have some mixed precipitation, but our snow is starting up. Again, we have rain out ahead of it, as you can see, but that cold air is racing in behind this low pressure system. And as they meet, that's when we're going to start to see the real snowy effects. So we're about to move on to where Chicago and some other big cities are going to start to see some heavier snow, where we could see potentially, again, 8 to 12 inches or even more in some of these regions. So we're about to start seeing some really, really exciting things on this simulated radar. Also, I want you to take note as we're showing this frame. First off, we have that heavy snow for Chicago, and that snow becoming more widespread throughout Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, Iowa, all those regions. This is also that day where we have our first day of severe weather down there for Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. So you see that heavy precipitation with the cold air moving in. That's going to be our severe weather threat. And then even the next day for areas further east. So as we move on, you're going to start to see those severe weather effects. But I will remind you as we see those different impacts there. Let's move on again. And we start to see the snow is moving a bit further east. Chicago is lightening up a little bit. That heaviest snow is now over mostly Michigan, and our low pressure system is in Ohio. But we just see that very strong line of heavy, heavy rain there from Indiana down through into the Mississippi River, all the way down through into Louisiana. And this is by Saturday morning, by the way, around 8 a.m. Let's move on into Saturday evening, and by this point, all the severe weather is going to be done. We see some yellows. That might be some lingering thunderstorms there for Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee. I'm going to continue to update you guys on the severe weather too. We will have videos specifically dedicated to the severe weather threats, and that's what I'm expecting to do throughout the year. This year is I'm becoming a lot more professional with my videos where I'm trying to cover every single major weather event. So I am going to be trying to cover all the severe weather events as well, which obviously is a big chore, but that's what I'm going to be trying to do. It's an ambitious task, but we'll see how I do. We have snow still falling for Illinois, Indiana, in through portions of Ohio, Michigan, and a little bit of Missouri there, including St. Louis. But we do see that Chicago, the snow is coming to an end after we've probably seen 6 to maybe even 12 inches of snow by this point. Now we're about to move on to where interior New England could start to see a lot of snow, actually, as well as areas like Cleveland, upstate New York. This cold air is going to start moving in, and we're going to start to see the rain snow line move further and further south. All right, so as you can see, this is by about 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, January 12th, and we see Ohio, the very northern half of that, we're getting moderate snow on this model. We also see Michigan, including Detroit, getting a little bit of snow still. Then Indiana, things are wrapping up, but upstate New York, we're getting moderate to heavy snow, as well as very far northern Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And that cold air is just going to keep moving further south, and we'll start to see that snow line move further and further south as well. This is where things become tricky, because if this storm looks a lot more north, all the snow for upstate New York and New England could be kissed goodbye. But if it moves further south, we could start to see areas further south get snow. So it's very finicky, and that's why I'm just going to continue to update these videos. Again, I made plenty of disclaimers in this video that this is a very tricky storm to forecast, especially with how the models have been, so we just need to take it with a grain of salt. But I am showing you what the current guidance is, but also telling you what would happen if it moved further north. So I think I'm covering all bases here, hopefully. Now let's move on another frame, and as you can see, like I said, by Sunday morning at about 8 a.m., we do see that cold air move further in, and we see more southern New Hampshire and Vermont get snow, even mixed precipitation there on the coast of Maine. So we're really starting to see that cold air move in. Most of upstate New York there is lighter in snow. By this point, mostly Maine getting the heaviest snow. And as we head on to our next frame, this is going to be by Sunday, late afternoon, early evening. It's all said and done. We have some snow showers lingering for Maine, but it's basically done. Now, we're about to get into your total snowfall on the models, which is going to be very, very exciting, obviously, to take a look at. And then I'm going to show you guys some of those severe weather threats very briefly at the end of this video. All right, so as you can see, here's our GFS model. And anywhere in the blue, we're looking at a general dusting to about 3 inches of snow. Notice there's that snow for West Virginia and Virginia. That's associated with our system that's happening today, by the way. So you just have to kind of deduct that amount from it. Even the areas in southern and middle portions of Pennsylvania, as they will not be most likely getting snow from our system we're talking about in this video. But today, there is a little bit of a system there for the Mid-Atlantic that's bringing them snow. So just completely deduct those amounts as we go on through this. But we see areas in Missouri and Illinois, in through Michigan, and then into upstate New York and interior New England, getting those purple amounts, which is where we're looking at 3 to 6 inches of snow. And even in the pink is where we're expecting 6 to even 12 inches of snow there for Chicago, in through middle portions of Michigan, and then a lot of very far northern upstate New York, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and then central Maine there. Not very populated areas, but we are expecting a lot of snow for those regions. Again, upwards of about 12 inches of snow, maybe a little bit more there for upstate New York. Looking at your Canadian model, there's a big difference here. We still see Chicago get a lot of snow. It's a little bit further south, though, actually, as we see mostly southern Michigan getting those pink amounts. But then as we head into Maine, upstate New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, we see those greens, a lot of greens, 12 to 24 inches of snow there. The Canadian model out of all these models is actually the worst, but it is worth mentioning. Now, on your European model, it's very similar to the GFS, which is a very good sign, actually, when we have good agreement on the GFS and European model. We see about 10 inches of snow for Chicago there, and then upwards of 20 inches there for central Michigan, and then in through upstate New York and interior New England. We have a lot of snow too. There's just a lot more snow on the European model here, but the placement is very similar on the GFS and European, which is a very, very good sign. Now, your ensemble models, I wanted to show this because there you go with the more northern route. We see this is the European ensemble. It's very normal for these to have very low amounts compared to what we're expecting, so they very low end it most of the time. So that's why we're seeing only about 6 to maybe 8 inches in our bullseye there for northern Michigan on these models. But I wanted to show because the ensemble models on the European here, and then also our GFS that I'm showing right now are much further north than all the operational models, which usually means that there is a chance that this one will trend north. So again, we're going to continue to watch that, and I've made plenty of disclaimers throughout this video about that possibility. Now, for your severe weather, we're going to talk about it very briefly because I'm running out of time. On day 4, which is going to be Friday into Saturday, so basically Friday, the daytime, in through Saturday night, we're going to have the potential, moderate at least potential, for severe weather in the very eastern regions of Texas, northern Louisiana, some of those portions in Arkansas and Oklahoma. The yellow region is going to probably be a slight risk at severe weather is what they're thinking. And then the orange region is going to be at least an enhanced risk, maybe even moderate there. So pretty good chance of severe weather for January. And then even day 5, which is going to be Saturday into Sunday, we also have a slight and at least enhanced risk there for more Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida, as well as Louisiana once again. So we have some very exciting severe weather stuff coming up, and it's going to be really exciting to make severe weather videos for the first time in a very, very long time. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends and family if they live in the affected regions, and I'll see you guys in the next video.